Close your eyes and sit up nice and tall in your seat. Check and see if there are places you're holding any tension, and just release. Soften any tightening or gripping you may be doing. Take a deep inhale in. Exhale out. One more just like that. Inhale in. Exhale out. And just bring your awareness to the rise and fall of your front body. Take a deep breath in. Slow exhale out.
Excited, thank you.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
I'm just, trying to find a place with like-minded people to talk about like-minded things about me, about poop and stuff.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
Oh man, what's this right here? Is this a podcast about poop?
And now, the Hey Poopy Podcast with Dave and Ellen.
Hey everybody, we are back on Dump Day.
Hey everybody, this is the Hey Poopy Podcast with
Dave
and Ellen, and this is episode 89, but it'll always be number 2 to us. We have an amazing guest today, Rebecca Barron, who is a qualified nutritionist and urban farmer with the Carrot Campaign.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the show.
And before we go into exactly who Rebecca is, we'd like to go into how your poos have been. Have you been pooping recently?
Well, I have to say the last few days I've been drinking a lot of Diet Coke, so they've kind of been more like number 6, like the soft, fluffy, ploppy types. I kind of got to lay off the aspartame.
Yeah.
Is that TMI?
No,
Not here, I guess.
No,
No,
never
not
on here.
Yeah, we asked. How your poop's been, Ellen?
We had a meeting this morning. It's really funny how Thursdays have become I know the episode dumps on Wednesdays, but Thursdays have become our meeting day. And then we also record a couple hours later. And before I could get into the 3-way call with the meeting, I had to poop. So I was late for that. And then I went to go pee, and it was like a total Bristol 4. It was like one large one next to one skinny one, which I always think is really funny because it looks like the twins of poop. But twins meaning the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I also wanted to pee right before we started recording because I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to pee while recording. And I got stuck on the toilet a little extra because poop was coming out of me that I didn't even know I had to poop.
Ooh,
Oh, no.
So that's why I was a
lot.
tiny bit late.
Oh, no.
It's okay.
It literally wouldn't stop. I was like, come on, I gotta go.
It's like the never-ending poop, right?
Exactly.
That happens a lot, Ellen.
The poop that doesn't end.
It's like the mystery shit. Nice.
And what about you, Dave? How's your poop's been?
I woke up this morning with super early. I've been up since like 4:30. Could not go back to sleep. Then I kind of tried to lay back down, whatever. So I just went to I just been going to the bathroom all morning up until like 8. I felt like. I don't know what I ate last night. We just had like a nice, sensible meal. Nothing too crazy. And I have been just on the toilet all morning. I mean, I feel
How many times?
I went like 4 times maybe within like 4 hours. It's like
Wow.
crazy.
And you woke up at 4:30 in the morning having to poop?
Yep.
Wow.
I got up and it was nuts. It was like 4. It was like 5. Sorry, not 5s. It was 6s, 5s.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I ate something weird last night, but we had cauliflower pizza. that we made.
Oh,
Crazy.
So I don't know if
maybe
it
it's
was
the
just, like, emptied out.
cauliflower.
Yeah, it just like emptied me out, I guess. I mean, it was like crazy. So I've been doing that all morning, and it's finally, my stomach was killing me, but I feel better now. So I think it was
I've
this last
rarely
night's dinner.
woken up in the middle of the night to poop, so that's like extreme.
Yeah, that has not happened in a long time, and I
Yeah.
just did get the worst night's sleep, and it's just like nonstop. But it's better now. That's all that matters.
That's
That
good.
is.
Yeah,
Very, very good to hear.
yeah. I was a little nervous.
I made that ratatouille over the weekend, and I've been eating those leftovers. And every time I eat that, it just shoots right through me. Like it's those stewed veggies.
The veggies will rip through you for sure.
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, I'm just gonna blame it on the cauliflower, but I think that is what happened. That's my story.
So now that we've checked in, Rebecca, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I've been writing with the Carrot Campaign since 2015, and I originally went to college for nutritional science. I was going to be a dietitian, and I decided to go more on a holistic route after college, but the recession had another thing for us. So I kind of spent a couple of years bartending and working in nightlife, and I wound up getting sick, and because I didn't have health insurance, I started looking into ways I could heal myself at home. And that's how I got into like doing coffee enemas, and I healed myself and got interested and passionate about writing about nutrition again because of that. And I've been working on that ever since, mainly. Yeah. And,
so let's rewind really quick. What is the Carrot Campaign?
Well, it's a health blog. I kind of say if Martha Stewart was a nutritionist, because I find that like food can be fun and healthy, and I found that I never was going to be a good weight loss coach, because the best part about a diet for me is when you clear out the fridge and eat all the junk food the day before you start your diet. So it's like, so the Carrot Campaign is kind of just like, live life, but also enjoy dessert. I call it for the love of food and all that's good. So it's just about like finding that healthy balance. I actually had a friend that graduated in the nutrition program ahead of me, and he ate like a saint. He was the nicest guy you met. But then he got hit by a bicycle, and he just died at 24.
Oh my God.
And it shook me up. Like, he also didn't want to become a dietitian. He decided to be a vegan chef. We didn't want to like work at the WIC program. We didn't want to do clinical nutrition. We had guest lecturers from Monsanto and the Dairy Council. So he graduated ahead, and he was living this great life, and he got hit by a car, and he just suddenly died right before I was graduating. And it just shook me so much that I was like, what do I want to do with my life? And I said, I want to move to New York. And that's what I did. And so I just, lived my life. And then after a while, I realized, I do care about writing about nutrition and helping people, but I don't want to say that I'm some expert and make someone sick because I'm a health expert. You got to trust me. So I figured I'm just going to write about it and share what I love about it and cooking, and make sure that there's, the right advice out there. There's a lot of bad holistic so-called nutritionists out there that give really bad advice that can hurt people. And the Western doctors, they're kind of bound by the peer-reviewed medicine. They're not all bad people, but they're just limited. And so I've realized, since I have like a legit degree, but I'm not bound with a license like a dietitian, that I was going to be that healthy medium online, where it's like, if you're going to do a jade egg, this is why I don't think you should put jade in your vagina. But if you're going to do it, at least boil it so it's sanitized. So I try to be like that big sister of nutrition.
Gotcha. Wow.
And when you got sick a couple of years ago, what kind of sick were you?
Well, I started getting pain in my upper right quadrant. I was bartending at a nightclub, and I was staying up really late, and I was like the only female bartender in like a group of guys. And, they'd say, what time is it? And I'd be like, it's shot o'clock. And so I started drinking like socially, but then if you're working every night, that's a lot of drinking, 3 shots a night, 5 nights a week. that takes a toll. And I noticed I was getting like clay colored stools and like orange and yellow stools, things that you'd hit WebMD and they'd be like, alarm, like go to the doctor. Not like the normal paranoia from like reading MDV, but like the one where they're like, no, you should go see a doctor. And I was like, I don't have insurance. And this was before Obamacare. So I was like, what if I have a serious condition and then I try to get insurance later and they deny me because it's a pre-existing condition? And at that time, I had heard about coffee enemas in one nutrition class in community college. There was like this one professor where if you took Health and Wellness 3, everyone, like the course description said it was just like STDs and the normal health stuff, but everyone knew that professor talked about all the weird holistic stuff. So I heard about coffee enemas then, and he also advocated stuff that I thought was quack science, like the ear candling. So I dismissed it until I saw on Netflix the Gerson miracle. Have you heard about that?
No.
Like the Gerson Institute? Well, apparently there's this clinic in San Diego and in Mexico, and they help people with lots of ailments by giving them a very high vegetarian diet and lots of vegetable juicing, and they do coffee enemas. And through the documentary, I decided, let me do some research. And with my background in biology and the fact that coffee enemas were mentioned in peer-reviewed medical journals back from like Victorian era up until 1977, I said, okay, I'm going to try one. And you actually know my old roommate at the time, Nick. He was bartending that night when I did my first coffee enema, and I remember I texted him. I said, in case something happens and you come home and find me dead, I'm sorry for the mess.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so out of desperation and lack of health insurance, I tried a coffee enema, and I fell in love with them. And so
walk us through the steps of a coffee enema.
Okay, so one thing I will say about a coffee enema is that you don't take it lightly because it is going in through the rectal cavity. You can't use just tap water. And like I said, there's people online that are like, oh yeah, just put water through a Brita pitcher. Like, no, you don't want to do that. You have to be sterilized. You have to use organic light roast coffee. Some people online are like, well, I like a dark roast. It's like, no, don't put your spin on this. Do it right. So the Gerson Institute, they say use 2 tablespoons of, breakfast blend light roast coffee that's organic, no pesticides because it's going straight in, and you use distilled water, and you cook 3 tablespoons in water and on a pot and for 15 minutes. And you let it simmer. So it's not the same percentage of a cup of coffee. It's like very diluted. And then you cool it and you strain it. You get it to like body temperature. You clean your finger with rubbing alcohol, and you test it with your finger to make sure it's something that's like not too hot. And then you put it in an enema kit that's nice and clean, and you lay down on your right side and you just stick it in and you hold it for 15 minutes. And then you sit on the toilet, and then just the floodgates come out. Like everything comes out.
Sure.
Like all of my fears from I just like crying, and I'm like, oh my God, like it's like everything comes out.
Wow. And is it like, you said you're holding that for 15 minutes per time?
Yeah. Well, some days you can't take it for the full 15. The research has shown there's no benefit doing it past 15, but it's always weird to argue this because, like, I don't know all the peer-reviewed stuff to back it, but they claim that every 3 minutes, your body circles all of the blood through your liver every 3 minutes. And so if you hold it for 15 minutes, you're getting 5 doses of, like, cleaning the blood through your liver while you got this coffee solution, like, heightening your bile ducts. The caffeine goes from this nerve in your large intestines. Well, that's why you lay on your right side. It hits this vagus nerve, and it opens up the bile ducts, and there's compounds in the coffee that help your liver make glutathione S transferase, which is like this blood scrubbing enzyme. So that enzyme's going through your blood while you're holding the enema, and the enzyme's telling your cells, release your toxins, and it just sucks it all up, and it goes into your large intestines, and then you just release it. So you get all these chemicals out, parasites come out, liver flukes, and then it also cleans your colon in the process too. So it's very beneficial.
Huh.
I'm sorry if I rambled about that.
No, it's okay. I asked the question. And how many of you? Okay, wait. Mel, before this interview started, you mentioned you did a bunch of these. Like, how many? How many of these have you done?
I've done at least 350 and counting.
350?
Yeah, over the last 5 years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So how often are you doing it? Like once a week or?
Now I'm doing them twice a month. But when I first started doing them, I did them twice a day. That's the maximum you shoot when you're healthy. People who have cancer that go to these institutes, they're with professionals that are giving them enough electrolytes in between each coffee enemas, and they'll do up to 4 a day. And like, if you ever seen My Strange Addiction, they have this couple that's doing 4 or 5 coffee enemas a day, and that's when it's dangerous because like they're not balancing their electrolytes. And so that's why I realized there has to be someone who's willing to talk about this disgusting subject online, because there's really bad advice and people doing them excessively, and then there's people who say don't do them at all, and it's a really great cheap way to help your body. I don't say that the liver doesn't detox. It's just you can't say your liver is up against the same toxins back from even 100 years ago. Think of all the chemicals in our water, our air, additives. So it's not like people go, well, your liver is a detoxifying organ. But I think by doing coffee enemas and eating a lot of vegetables, it just aids in the longevity of the liver. And it helps. Like, it will definitely help prevent liver issues later on in life. And coffee, even in peer-reviewed journals, will say coffee is really good for your liver, period. Even if you have liver disease, they say to drink coffee. It's just the pesticides is the issue. You should, if anything, drink organic coffee.
Dave, I know you don't drink coffee, but have you ever stuck it up your butt?
No, I've never had a coffee enema.
Really?
I've only had colonics. I've had 2 colonics, never an enema.
I've helped 8 people do a coffee enema. If you want, I can show you how to do them.
I'll think it over. Well,
I've done it at least twice.
Oh, really?
And then I've had it done to me when I've done colonics. She'll during the colonic, she'll push some coffee in with the colonic.
Oh, nice. And how did you feel after you did it?
When I did it to myself twice, I felt incredible. It also gives you a really insane caffeine rush.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you said that the first time you did it was at night, I was like, did you even sleep that night?
Not really. I wasn't thinking right, honestly. I was just so excited to try one. I actually picked the wrong type of tube. I went to a hardware store and I got a 2-quart bucket to measure it. And then I was like, I need some type of tube. And then he wound up cutting me this aquarium tube, and it was diagonal cut. And I remember I was looking at it, right, and I had everything set up, and I was like, I think this will probably tear my colon.
Oh my God.
So I walked to a Rite Aid and I got 4 enema bottles, and I emptied out the saline and I filled it with the coffee solution instead.
That's probably smart.
That's why I texted my roommate that night. I was like, I might die from this. Let's try it.
Yeah, when I did it, I got an actual one of those enema bags that kind of look like a saline bag with a long tube.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's what I use. The rubber one is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, the metal bucket can be so clumsy, and the plastic one, you have to worry about the hot solution leaching plastic for the long haul. That's why I have to do a coffee enema on the go in a hotel room, which some people actually are so diligent that they take their coffee enemas on the road. You can always use the saline bottle, Dave, just so you know.
Oh, thanks. I'm writing notes down.
But I gotta say, I highly recommend you try it. If you're someone who can do it, if you're pregnant, if you're nursing, definitely don't do them. If you've had ulcerative colitis, if you have bleeding hemorrhoids, if you've had part of your colon removed, if you've had surgery within 2 months, if you've gone through chemo, definitely disclaimer, they're not for everyone. You should definitely see a doctor. But if you're healthy and able, I definitely think you should try them.
You said
you also started it when you were not healthy. So
yeah. Well, I have to say that like mine was more of a desperation, and with those symptoms, I probably should have weighed caution, but I think with my background in nutrition and my background in biology, it was a good risk. But in retrospect, I would say you should probably do it how you did it, Ellen, at a clinic for your first time. But if you figure them out and you can take them well, they're very easy and safe to do at home if you just make sure you're using the right equipment and you're not sharing equipment and making it clean. But I have to say, David, when you wake up and you do a coffee enema and then you take a shower, there is no level of cleanliness you'll ever feel. Like you feel so clean inside and out. You get your towel and you're just
Scrubbing
like,
bubbles.
just squeaky clean. Just ready to start the world.
Take the world
Hello. Yeah.
That is unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I just, this seems like just messy for some reason to me. Like, I mean, I know it can't.
It sometimes can be.
But yeah, I like the idea of it. I mean, like, is your butt like must be like just bulletproof? Like, I can't imagine like, the constant tubing. Not to get graphic, but I mean like the amount of tubing you put up your ass has got to be like like Superman.
They're actually very thin, and I have to say that I'm not really my butt's not that doesn't get much action outside of that, and I say maybe I would let you put it there if you were the size of an enema tip, but if you were that small, why would I want your dick to begin with?
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, the enema bag that I used, the tube was smaller than the diameter of a pencil. So
yeah, it's not that
very,
bad.
very thin.
Oh, okay. I thought they were like just like
no,
like those hoses like you just see like like it's like a quarter size or something.
That was the one I originally bought, and thank God I didn't try to insert that by myself. My goodness.
Wow.
But
and then you also said, Rebecca, that this coffee enemas go back to Victorian times. How did you find that out?
Well, I found out through the Gerson Institute. They found research, like enemas have been mentioned even back in Egyptian times. Even in the Bible, they mention references to enemas to clean out the spirits of the bowel. But coffee enemas actually were mentioned somewhat in medical journals in the Victorian era. They first became more popular and put into the peer-reviewed journals during World War I. The Germans did not have enough morphine to do post-care for the soldiers, only enough for surgery and amputations. They just had to deal with it post-care. And so they said that the nurses decided to try putting coffee in the enemas instead of just water enemas for their pain. And they found that the soldiers that had the coffee enemas survived septicemia at much higher rates than the soldiers that didn't have the coffee enemas.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then
crazy.
there was this Dr. Max Gerson, and he had some type of skin rash and migraines. He went on a elimination diet where he only ate apples, and then he cured his migraines. And then he applied his diet to other conditions like skin tuberculosis. And then he also started adding the coffee enemas because he found that his patients were overburdening their liver by flushing out the chemicals in their body, and that they needed to do the coffee enemas to stop overburdening the liver. So Dr. Max Gerson saw the peer-reviewed medical journals, the studies that were done in Uruguay, done in Germany during World War I, and he decided to apply it to his practice. And that's how they developed the Gerson protocol, which people use for lots of ailments, and some people even claim it's cured them of cancer. It's all about cleaning that liver and not overburdening it. And they say coffee enemas, you have to do them with a protocol. You cannot just skip that element. So there's some merit to them.
Wait, how do you spell Gerson?
Gerson.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And since they've actually had a clinic since the 50s where they have hundreds of case studies, I feel comfortable only following their way. And so when people ask me questions about coffee enemas, I always direct them to the Gerson Institute. Because you don't want to risk with it. People can get really sick if they do them wrong, especially if they don't balance their electrolytes. You can get sick because it is affecting your large intestines. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I've also noticed a problem with orthorexia, where people are just so obsessed about cleanliness, and there's these liver flush forums on Facebook, and they're like, how do you detox your small intestine? And then I'm on there saying, you don't, that's where all your gut flora is.
Yeah.
And so there's people that they're just far too obsessed with over cleansing themselves. So I just really exercise caution to everyone to just find balance. We're all going to expire one day, so you got to live a little, right?
Yeah.
Agreed.
You just get hit by a car, you never know, right?
Yeah.
Wow. You just dropped some knowledge there.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
That's some deep shit.
Yeah, literally. Completely.
Well, on our last episode, we interviewed somebody who was into fisting, and they called when you cleaned out your colon for fisting certifying. And so I wonder if they had any of these people certified with coffee.
Yeah,
because
that
they
would
also
be one
cleaned.
coffee date.
Yeah, right. It's a double entendre. Like, so wait, so you said you were doing you do up to twice a day, or what are you doing now? You used to do once a day, or?
Now I'm only twice a month. With the pandemic, I haven't had much privacy to do them. It takes it's a ritual. And when I had a roommate, I had to peek my head out and be like, I'm about ready to use the bathroom for 30 minutes. He's like, oh, go ahead, go. But yeah, so it's weird. And I have to say, when I was a guest at someone's house during pandemic and they were out of town for 5 days, I did go and do a coffee enema. That was the first bit of privacy I had. I'm like, woohoo, alone at last.
Yeah. Enema time. Enema time. Yeah.
Yeah. The best part of waking up is coffee up your butt.
Yeah. You're like a butterista.
Never would I have imagined that I would be so adamant about enemas, but yeah, they're great.
That's awesome. You're like a barista for the ass.
Oh yeah,
a butterista.
But I'm no flat white. I got a bubble butt for a white girl.
Awesome. Oh my god, it's so funny.
So many coffee and butt puns.
There's a lot of it kind of writes itself.
It's good to the last drop.
If anybody out there has any questions for Sincerely to write in, or any comments about coffee enemaing, please email us at heypoopypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call us on our hotline.
Yeah.
203-998-5579. We would love to hear about all your coffee enema stories, questions, whatever. And we could even email them to Rebecca, and she can then tell us all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can also check out my website at carrotcampaign.com. I have a really great tutorial on everything you need to know about coffee enemas, and hopefully by the time we publish this broadcast, it would be working on a quiz you can take where it's rating your stools and any advice you need to do based off of the things that's going on down there for you. So that's something to look forward to in the future if you feel like checking that out at my website, Carrot Campaign.
We should do a live quiz on the show.
Yeah.
It would be fun. Maybe if this would build up interest, if we did it again, people would actually call in. And I could be all like, you shouldn't be doing that. Or
Totally.
Well, at the very least, if anybody calls in, you can at least answer we could play the questions live to you, and you can just answer them.
That's a great idea.
If they're not live, but we're all set.
Do you have any more things to talk about coffee enemas, or Dave, do you have any questions about it, or should we just go into regular questions?
Yeah, let's go into the questions.
Sincerely, do you have anything else you want to add before we go into regular questions?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. Cool. Well, here we go. Let's start off with a softball question. Rebecca, do you use, what kind of toilet paper do you use, and do you put it on the roll over or under?
So I'm very particular about my toilet paper. The single ply, man, especially when you have the runs, it can be so painful. When it burns after a while, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You got to have the 2-ply. And I really like keeping the wet wipes too.
Okay.
What was the other question?
And do you put it on the roll over or under?
I'm not particular. I don't have a one way or the other, but I tend to have it over. Is that blasphemy to you too?
No, not to Ellen.
So, I heard people like will get divorced over that shit.
People have very strong opinions about it, for sure.
That's why we always ask that question, because it is a very heated debate.
It's a very divisive question. But yes, I'm under. Ellen's over.
As long as it's available, that's all I care about.
Yeah, agreed.
And if you use wet wipes, make sure you're throwing them away in the garbage. Do not flush.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm at a place with a septic system. Thanks for the warning.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That'll wreak havoc on a septic tank.
Shit.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Oh, shit, into your house.
Yeah.
That would be like a smooth Bristol 4, right? That's like pudding.
Oh, my God.
And what is your first memory as poop or farts as a child?
Oh, let me think. Well, when I was younger, my sisters used to give me this worst nickname, so I guess I'm going to embrace it. They used to call me Becky Fart Pants. Yeah. I was a gassy kid, I guess. I think it's really bad when you mix like cheese and fruit, like when you're at like a party and there's the buffet and you're just snacking all day. It would always be like mixing all of the fruit. See, there I go again.
And are they older sisters or younger?
Oh, I was the lonely middle child. So yeah, my older sister was the gang that she would gang up and make the little sister pick on me. It got to the point where every time I bring home a boyfriend, they would threaten to use that word on me. And I got to the point where I was all like, well, if you actually loved me, you would stop. We're adults now. And if you love me, you will stop calling me Becky Fart Pants. And so in the last few years, it doesn't come out very often. So I think, yeah, that's my first memory was that I hated pooping and farting growing up.
So you're mostly like lactose intolerant from the cheese and making farts?
No, thank God I'm not lactose intolerant. And I even got tested for celiac, and I'm good for gluten, thank God. But I don't know. I was just a gassy kid. I think...
That's cool.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Lots of butts.
Yeah.
Lots of butts. A lot of stuff in behind.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever mentioned it on the podcast before, but I was at my cousin's wedding 10 years ago, and he had one of those cheese towers. And I was with my brother, and I literally was like, gave myself, I'm going to eat one piece of cheese from each part of the tower. So it was 4 different pieces of cheese. And within 20 minutes, I made 4 farts that smelled like each one of the pieces of cheese. And my brother was with me. He goes, how are you doing that? It's like you had a brie fart, you had a blue cheese fart, you had a cheddar. And I was like, I don't know how my stomach's doing that.
Yeah, that's amazing. It must have been the layering. They say that if you eat food, like they say food combining, you eat fruit first because it digests the quickest. You eat starches and like leafy greens, that digests the second to least, then the meats and heavy fats. And someone once tested it where they ate watermelon and then they had waited an hour, they had salad, and then they had beef, and they had like rainbow poop. It was first red, and then it was green, and then like yellow was the butternut bisque, and then the roast beef was the brown tip. So yeah, you should try that for next Pride, rainbow poopy.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to try that for the show.
Yeah.
I want to try it for the show. Oh my God, that sounds disgustingly awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, being a nutritionist, I have a question for you. I have heard actually that eating your salad at the end of the meal is better for digestion. What do you suggest?
People have been saying that lately, but I think it depends on what you're eating. If you're eating heavy meat, it might make sense to start with the salad at the end. I'm sorry. If you eat meat, like a heavy beef dish, you might want to eat your salad at the end because the beef takes about 4 hours to digest. So if you eat the salad first, that might help you with the roughage. But if you're vegetarian, I think it doesn't matter. It's only if you're eating a very heavy, fatty, meaty meal that's tough to digest. But I will say that the trend of fruit for dessert is no bueno. Because if you want to go with that theory about heavy meat taking longer than the salad, if you eat fruit at the end, that's all going to ferment. And all those antioxidants people rave about berries, they're not going to get absorbed, and they're just going to ferment and just cause gas. So I will say, have fruit as an appetizer or eat it by itself, not for dessert, or at least wait an hour after your meal before you even think about fruit.
Right. And that's with meats, you're saying, right?
Yeah. When you're vegetarian, it tends to be more laxed.
Yeah.
That's a really great tip, though.
Thanks.
Like, cause like people like I've been doing. I did this like chocolate pudding last night with fruit on it after my meal, and you're saying that that's a bad idea.
Well, I think if you had a couple berries, I don't think it's going to make or break it, but a bowl of fruit or like sorbet even, and I love sorbet and sherbet, but I tend to try to have it as an afternoon treat, not as dessert. Your best bet for dessert would be like a bit of dark chocolate or like ice cream if you eat meat. Like a little bit of ice cream tends to be a good option, because it's easy to digest and it's a hard milk instead of a soft.
Interesting.
That's awesome.
Good to know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love knowing all those tips about digestion. I always tell friends that like if you notice the way I eat, it's all has to do with how I poop it out. Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to drink more water because it helps my poop. I try to eat certain food because it helps my poop. So
yeah, you had health issues. Are you still avoiding nightshades?
No, I'm not anymore. The only thing I'm avoiding is basically gluten.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I would give up gluten before I gave up tomatoes. I'm like, you're not taking tomatoes away from me. I'll stop drinking. I won't eat processed sugar, but you're not taking tomatoes away from me. I'm part Italian. That's like in my blood.
I completely agree. And right now it's like, I know we're recording this in August and the episode comes out in October, but like it's tomato season up here and like they're the best right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's why, like, I don't want to be I don't believe in that food purist stuff. It's like, have some tomatoes, have dessert. Like, it's all about your spiritual health. And I even had a food science professor that said, never underestimate the power of giving a cookie to a child. He's like, health is not just, metabolisms and sugars and minerals. He was like, you got to think about the full balance of health.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Completely.
Mm-hmm.
What products do you use to help you with pooping besides your enemas?
And
your wipes?
Yeah, I tend not to really need anything else. Like, I don't take stool softeners. I don't take psyllium husks. Whenever I'm super duper constipated, like, I'll do a banana. A banana's a good trick, depending on the ripeness. If it's a very underripe banana, green, it helps with diarrhea. If you have an overripe banana, it helps with constipation.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Oh,
yeah. And if you also have diarrhea, a way to help thicken in it is rice. You could do chia seeds. Even a chia pudding is a great way to thicken up your poop. And I'm trying to think for constipation, I guess aloe vera juice, or I will do a little bit of water with apple cider vinegar, lemon, and honey. That tends to help with constipation too.
That's a really good tips.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And our favorite question. If you have to go Bristol stool 7 coming out of you fast and furious.
Oh, God.
And there's absolutely zero toilet in sight. Do you poop in your pants or do you go somewhere on the floor or the ground?
I think I would do floor or the ground.
And have you done that before?
No, thank God. No. I've had to run to the bathroom where it's coming out both ends, and I was like, okay, mouth to trash can, toilet to the bottom end. But I've had to pee in public, but I've been so fortunate. I've never been in that situation. But if I had to, I think I would probably find somewhere to squat and let it out, because the thought of having to walk around in your excrement is, I think that's an all-time low. And I put coffee up my butt.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Yeah, I agree. I think most people choose the floor. You don't even walk around.
The floor.
Yeah,
Would you crap your pants, Dave? I mean, could you imagine swishing around in there?
Oh no, I've had to crap my pants. It's awful. It's like it's the worst thing ever. So yeah, floor for sure. But I think it's also depending on the situation you're in.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Like,
but if I was at a wedding, maybe I poop my pants.
Yeah, I mean, on a subway or I don't know, like you're waiting in line at the post office and it just hits you. Like I mean,
oh my gosh.
So there's it's circumstantial, but I think most people are going to choose the floor or ground.
Yeah, if you get your pants off in time, that is right.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't have any more questions, Dave, unless you have anything you want to add.
No, I mean, we could go into... I have a really good news article.
Ooh,
okay.
I think it's fascinating. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to play the little theme song for that, and we'll go into that. So this was from CNN. And the headline reads, Seabird poop is worth millions. Say scientists trying to save the birds. So basically, this is on CNN. And I've actually heard about this a while back, but it was just like not too long ago. I forgot what day this was. August 6th, 2020. They're talking about like a lot of hot commodities lately, like gold, oil. But they're saying like the most valuable product right now might be like seabird shit or guano. And so the poop that's from seagulls, pelicans, penguins, any kind of seabird, this guano can be used as basically a commercial fertilizer. It has a lot of potassium in it. So like a lot of these, and it's like super easy to collect. So a lot of scientists, and they're saying like, it's like, that's all the puns in here are so funny, but they said the estimated value could be up to like $473 million each year or much more, depending on where they're getting it from. And a lot of times they're also saying that like coastal seabird shit actually helps like various ecosystems, environments, as far as like, what they eat poops back, goes into like, say like a reef, or it goes back into like a coastal line that might help something grow. Like, I mean, it's the fact that it's like the circle of life, I guess, basically. Like there's eating, shitting, which is helping like grow things. But really the big thing commercially is just using it for fertilizer. And they're finding that like, I mean, basically like in places like the Great Barrier Reef, the Caribbean, Southeast Asia, a lot of this stuff can be helped as far as like what's going on in with fish, because I guess fish eat this stuff too. So it's just a real cool. I thought it was like fascinating though, but I mean, just the fact that like people are going out there and collecting like seabird poop, and then turning it into that, like, and it's also helping because they realize with this, as far as because like we need like obviously fertilizer to grow food to eat. Mm-hmm. But as a result of this, they're seeing a lot more seabird conservation, because without this, like we're kind of fucked. But they're finding that this guano is like, which I love they call it guano, is just like insane. Like amount of like bird, like say penguins, they're like declining in population, so they're really getting nervous at the fact that like obviously like penguins are dying off, but we're not gonna be able to get as much bird shit. We're losing a big valuable source, is what I'm getting at.
Wow.
Wow.
And they're saying that I guess almost half the seabird species are declining in the population.
Wow, that's scary.
And a third of seabird species face the threat of extinction, according to BirdLife International. So, but it's really fascinating though, just the fact that like people are going in and collecting bird shit, and we can just turn it into fertilizer, which is really really awesome. I love that. And actually, we did a story a while ago. I think it was I forgot the country. I think it was in Holland, maybe. They're taking like the slurry, gross sediment from processing like poop plants, like processing plants that collect poop, and they turn that into like elements they can use for fertilizer as well, like phosphorus.
It's like
I remember incredible. That. So
and like there's so much that they do with cow manure. Like poop is very important.
Yeah, but they're saying over the next like 30 to 50 years, like phosphorus is going to be a huge commodity because it goes to fertilizer. I mean, and it's just like without that, you don't really have anything. You're not growing much. At least at a commercial like level to feed like the entire world, which is like the population is going crazy right now. So it is important. And it obviously relates back to conservation, in this case with seabirds. But really fascinating. They have like seagulls on here, penguins, puffins. I mean, emperor penguins. It's pretty amazing. So, if you can,
fascinating.
Give some money to some seabird conservation because it's really helping us eat in the long run. In a roundabout way.
I also think it's funny these birds eat fish and then the fish eat their poop.
It's like this whole
cycle
weird
of life is very small.
It's just really crazy. I mean, mainly it's because of climate change and then overfishing because they can't find stuff to eat, so like they're dying off. So it's just like a real crazy. It's a real thing. But I just love the fact that people are collecting bird shit.
Yeah,
this makes me laugh. It's like someone's job is that, and again, it's like super easy to collect. They said so. It's not like it's really hard, and the payoff is huge.
I imagine this guy like walking down the beach instead of with his metal detector. He's got his like little scraper in his bucket. And he's scooping up the seagull poop. And he's like, "This is my retirement fund one day."
Completely.
I mean, I've been hearing about the soil depletion over the years, and so I could see how the phosphorus is important. But when I thought to myself, well, if phosphorus is in such a low decline, then how do they make phosphorus for our supplements? Can't they put in the soil? And I'm like, well, maybe the phosphorus in our supplements is bird poop.
I mean, look, you never know. Like, who knows? Like,
you never know.
But it's just so funny.
All natural ingredients, right?
And it's so funny because even the puns in the article, it's like, in these terms, seabird conservation doesn't sound like a crappy investment at all. It's like, who wrote this? Actually, it was Lauren Kent from CNN. She wrote this.
We need to find somebody who does that and interview them.
It is fascinating. I mean, it's just the fact that like how much money you can make per year. So that's
scooping up
just
poop.
Doing this, yeah.
Do they call everything guano? Like, because I heard guano was what they called bat poop. Remember Ace Ventura?
Yeah, guano.
Yeah. So I guess, is that just the fancy term for animal poop? They just call it guano?
I'm guessing because they mentioned it a bunch here. So,
or maybe it's for like flying animals.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's flying. So, yeah, I don't know. But fascinating story though. I thought that was interesting, and it's poop related. If it's not human poop, thank God. Because that would be crazy.
In some countries they do that, but you have to like pressurize and sanitize it. I heard.
Yeah.
Like they do use the sewage system. I wonder how else we would manage it otherwise. There's just so much poop and people.
It's an untapped market, and there's a bus in Bristol. I think was it in Bristol, in England?
Yes.
Yeah, in Bristol that runs off of like methane from people's like human shit.
From the sewer treatment plant.
It's a shuttle bus.
Yeah.
And so if they're doing that, and it's hilarious because the side of the bus has like where your head would be, like, sticking out the window. It's like underneath it, where the little sticker thing is. It's like someone sitting on a toilet. But the whole thing's run on poop. So, I mean, it's something that like scientists and like those communities should really get on because that's really, we're running out of like natural resources here.
Well, Bill Gates was reinventing the toilet that makes energy from it. Like, I mean, and I've talked about it in the past on the show. I'm excited for the day that our toilets actually just run. Like, you can make our toilets a way to run our electricity or just the gas in our house, for cooking and stuff. There's a possibility of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or when people talk about the courtesy flush, like that's like 2 rounds of water you're wasting just to be courteous, Yeah. I just thought that, I thought that was an interesting fact when you think about conservation.
Completely.
Yeah.
I'm also if it's yellow, let it mellow kind of person because I pee a lot. Mm-hmm. So I might as well let all that mellow while I like collect the water instead of flushing it down.
Absolutely. I heard that sometimes people will do fecal transplants. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
We've been trying to get somebody on the show to talk about it.
I want to do a fecal transplant only because I heard that it could change the person's metabolism. That if you are overweight and you get a fecal transplant from someone who is thin, you will become thin. But if you get it from someone heavy set with the metabolism of a heavy set person, and you're thin, you will become heavy set. Wow. So I'm like, what if that's the future of weight loss is fecal transplants?
fascinating.
Interesting thoughts.
Yes, totally.
It's a lot to go through to lose some weight.
Yeah, different than stapling your stomach.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, anyway, that's for another time. But Rebecca, thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Alan and Dave.
Of course.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. This is incredible. And tell people where they can find you again.
Oh, yeah. You can find my website at carrotcampaign.com. I'm also on Instagram and the YouTubes. And my urban garden is Living Waters Farm, if you're interested in learning about hydro gardening, too.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Well, go check it out.
I said it before and I'll say it again. If anybody has any questions, please email us at heypoopypodcast@gmail.com or call us on our hotline, 203-998-5579.
Do it. Of course.
Yes, and happy pooping, everybody, and toot, toot, toot.
Toodaloo.
Hey Poopy Podcast is brought to you by Perfect 4 Entertainment. Produced by Dave and Ellen, with executive producer Stormy Leather. Edited by me, Dave.
For more information, go to heypoopypodcast.com for episodes, merch, and more. Follow us on Instagram at heypoopypodcast and Twitter at heypoopy. Theme song by Jordan Perlson. Hey Poopy.